Hello friends and welcome back. I wanted to just do a quick video today and talk to you about a video that I watched and the way things that are going and what our response should be to those things. I watched a video today by a pretty well-known YouTuber, and this lady was talking about what she anticipates happening maybe in the next year or so. And she outlined how quickly a society can collapse, kind of the steps that people would go in feeling that economic collapse. She says worse than the Great Depression. And she's not the only one, okay? We've seen this a lot, heard this a lot, and I do think that things are changing. And I think anybody who has objectively studied history can see how large empires always do eventually collapse. So there's that. History also goes in cycles. Economics goes in cycles. Growing up, I feel like we were in a pretty good place here in America. I was born in 1988, so growing up through the 90s. Our family in particular was not well off, but that was a lot due to the lifestyle that my parents chose for us. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked in a factory, and we had 50 acres and we had a homestead. But it seemed like most people were doing okay. But it's a cycle. It's always a cycle of good times and bad times and high interest rates and low interest rates. All of those things. As a Christian, I am devastated by the way that our country is going. It bothers me. I've read the Bible and I know that things will get bad. I know that that's part of that cycle. So as I was watching this video this morning, I was canning peaches, and I had several of my children there with me, and they were listening to this, and my 8-year-old said, "She's not helping anything." And of course they're kind of rolling their eyes and going, "Oh, good grief, this isn't going to happen." And so I took the time to talk to them about how this lady was just probably trying to help people to see what could happen. Even though she says she believes it will happen, it is wise for us to consider the different trajectories that could occur. But some people haven't thought of that, and so they don't think about storing food as we were canning, and they don't think about what would they do in those situations. And so maybe this lady was just trying to get people thinking. And I do think that's probably what we need to do. Our response to some of the fear tactics should just be to consider, what if they're right? What's it change? What can I do that would make that time a little bit less scary? So thinking about that in our own family, we have to consider that there's 10 people on this property, and we can't grow enough food for 10 people, but we can grow some, and we can store up what's cheap and what's in season, and so that's helpful. We have large amounts of fabric that we've collected over the years and sewing notions if we would need to make clothes or repair clothes. We keep shoes and coats and things like that ahead for the children. So there's things that we are doing, and so I think our response, of course, that being part of our response is just thinking things through. What can we do right now that would help if this would happen, but would also help if there is an environmental impact, or if there is some kind of cyber attack, or if someone's sick, or if someone is laid off like my husband was for much of this year. It's good to be prepared. And if you go back and watch my very first videos, it was a series talking through stocking a pantry, and so I do think that's important. Second of all, a couple of years ago, during the pandemic, there was a lot of faith over fear things made and put out, and as Christians, we do need to have faith instead of fear. It's okay to be preparing for things, but it's not necessarily okay to be afraid, and we don't need to be afraid, especially as Christians. I said to my children today, okay, if things got really, really bad, what's the worst thing that could happen? And of course, they're children, so they don't think about things that might seem worse than death. But they said, we could die. And I said, and then what? And then we go to heaven, and we get to be with Jesus, and it's over, So, of course, as parents, we're much more concerned with how do our children fare than how would I fare. And even as my children are growing up and becoming adults, I want to be able to help them, and I worry some about them. And so, we need to be trying to help them to make good decisions and to know how to prepare for themselves. We also need to be in prayer for our nation. We can ask God for revival, to just send revival to this country. We can ask God for wisdom. We can ask God for the means to be able to store up things. But prayer changes things. And so that's important to be doing during this time. I think there's a lot of division happening right now, whether it's in this, about, things are going to be so bad, or, wow, our economy is amazing. I still don't really understand who's saying that, but apparently some people are. Or, political party pitted against political party, or trad wives against stay-at-home moms, or working moms, or homeschool versus public school. Everybody's always at each other now. And so I think one of the best things we can do is just be the voice of reason, just be the voice of moderation, and above all, let's just spend this time, instead of worrying, let's love God, let's love our families, and let's love the world. And if we do those three things, we're not going to do anything wrong. Any response that we have is going to be the right response because it's done in love. And just trust God, but be prudent. So those are just some thoughts that were on my heart this morning, and I hope that they're an encouragement to you. I'm going to go back to canning my peaches, and I'll see you guys in the next video.